This is the Pennsylvanian, an inner-city train connecting various small communities to large metropolitan areas. Despite its iconic position, the train is often dubbed less bang for your buck. I'll be traveling both ways in coach and business to investigate the experience and its reputation, or perhaps the reality. So, let's head into the city that is about to witness the sunrise. Located in the heart of the city, the Pittsburgh Union Station is the starting point of our train, the Pennsylvanian. Walking into a train station is always full of excitement. And today's surprise was the broken escalator. This is going to be fun. I got here 41 minutes before the departure time, and yet a line had already formed to board the train. Well, at least it wasn't delayed, so that's good. I chose to just sit near the line, as those needing extra time pre-boarded by the elevator. Business class riders got to board first, and the general boarding happened all at once, quite chaotically. Sorry I couldn't get a good footage. I volunteered to help a lady carry her luggage up the steps. Good job, me. Anyway, here it is, the Pennsylvanian. This train runs once each way between Pittsburgh and New York City, covering 444 miles. Now, as a state-supported medium-distance line, Amtrak assigns you a car depending on your final destination. Luckily, going further to Philadelphia meant being in one of the last two cars. One of the highlights of this train is best visible from either the first or last car, so this was a great start. Once you're on the car though, seats are first come, first served, and I made my way as far back as possible on the right side. You'll see both sides later. To better accommodate those going 7+ hours, the Pennsylvanian almost always comes with a few Amfleet 2 cars, also known as long-distance coaches. Depending on availability, some car for those going shorter distances may be Amfleet 1. Then the unimaginable happened. The train today departed promptly. So promptly that it left a whole minute earlier than scheduled. So if someone were to run through that door just now, whose fault is that? Now, previously when I headed westbound past Pittsburgh, I was presented with a beautiful view of the skyline of the city glowing in the dark. Heading eastbound from Pittsburgh offers a much more industrial, city-side look. Of course, that isn't to say there's nothing worth seeing. In fact, there is one of the most iconic rail spots in the entire country later on. Well, until then, let's just enjoy the sunrise and use the extra light to do a proper review of the seat, shall we? Set in a 2x2 configuration, each seat comes with an extra sizable window. As you've seen, there are leg rests as well as foot rests to really help you find a comfy posture for a lengthy journey. Personally, sightseeing in these seats is comfy enough for me to fall asleep. Let's release the leg rest for now. Remember that lever though. In front of each seat is a standard, sizable, retractable tray that can be found on many trains. But what wasn't standard was the rumble.
As you walk through the train, please be careful. This side of the tracks from Pittsburgh to Harrisburg is owned by Norfolk Southern Freight Territory. It is not owned by Amtrak. We are a passenger train that's very light and goes a lot faster, so it makes a lot of rocky side of movement. Even myself being out here all the time can get thrown against the wall.
And my oh my, she wasn't kidding. It was clear the tracks were meant for freight trains. This one, by far, was the most bumpy train ride I've ever been on. Well, the train comes with Wi-Fi, though it can be spotty through rural areas. Moving through the train, you can find extra spacious bulkhead seats, spacious enough for even the largest luggage items. The very second car is the cafe car, which takes a bit of traversing. Here, the menu is a standard National Rail menu featuring coffee, snacks, sodas, including Coke Zero, yes, and light meal options. I managed to successfully and safely travel through the cars to enjoy my ham, egg, and cheese bialy. This is my go-to breakfast option on the train, featuring gooey cheese and served hot. Yes, a very hot meal option. Though a bit bumpy, this was a great start to the morning. And I know it's true that our train system doesn't get the best reputation. It is really meant for slow travel in its current state. However, we cannot deny the fact that the train may be the only thing connecting some of these smaller, unique towns to one another and to large metropolitan areas. I, for one, certainly enjoy seeing these unique, interesting towns set with its own history. Shortly after passing Johnstown, we come across an iconic landmark that used to see as many as 48 passenger trains a day.
Again, on the right-hand side of our train, we will be rounding the world-famous Horseshoe Curve in just a few minutes.
Now there's just one, the Pennsylvanian train, traveling in each direction. I desperately zoomed in and out in hopes of finding the right footage. Unfortunately, between the foliage and the sun's reflection, the view wasn't as clear or as iconic as I had hoped. Since it's a National Historic Landmark open to public, I'll just have to plan a proper visit one day. Well, with the highlight behind us, why don't I get myself some shut-eye? Where are we? Oh, this is the Rockville Bridge right outside of Harrisburg, the longest stone masonry arch rail viaduct ever built. The stop at Harrisburg is a designated smoke stop where passengers can enjoy a few minutes of stretching on the platform. This is one of the very few opportunities to see the front of the train, though you've got to make sure you don't overstay your welcome. The cafe cars are temporarily closed here, but I was able to pass through them just so I didn't miss the train. By this point, it's about 5.5 hours into the ride, which means I am only about 2 hours away from Philly or 3.5 from New York. That might also mean one of the restrooms is not in a very presentable condition. Well, we at least have 2 restrooms for this reason. The train also passes pretty close to the Amish community here in Lancaster County. You may spot rural scenery as well as some Amish folks, but it's not like the train passes right through their towns. This was later when I was getting back. And so, without any incidents or anomalies, the train kept moving until the suburbs and skyline of Philadelphia were finally in sight. And just like that, my 7.5-hour ride came to an end with the great sight of the new Acela in the yard. Here in Philadelphia, they detached the diesel engine to attach an electric engine for the rest of the way to New York. I ran into Gina again and wanted to help her carry our luggage, except the escalator was working here in Philly. Aww. Well, I'll do a traveler's review of Philadelphia in one of my upcoming videos. But for now, let's get back to the Pennsylvanian train's business class. This is a ride where you often end up paying more for less. I'll go over the few pros and the many cons. Since Philly is the third busiest Amtrak station, you will find very long lines and a metropolitan lounge. Unfortunately, a business class ticket does not get you entry into the lounge. That being said, business class does get priority boarding from a dedicated line, so at least you won't be the last one boarding. Oh, hey, I have the same backpack from Amazon. Anyhow, let's get on board. The business car is located at the front of the train, which is a bit of a walk past the cafe car. Initially, when you board, it may be dark. That is because they were changing the engine.
Oh, I can. All right, thank you.
This time going from electric to diesel as we head westbound. It seems though the work has already finished. The car itself is a similar Amfleet car with an accessible seat at the back, along with luggage racks in a 2x2 configuration. There are 2 table seats for those who need to conduct some business on the business car. Ha ha ha. There's the luggage car. Anyhow, I said this is a similar Amfleet car. Though it may initially look identical, there are subtle differences. Did you notice them by any chance? Okay, the footrest is here, but there's no lever for the leg release. That's right, no leg rest for additional comfort. The rest of the features are identical, including reading lights, footrests, and a retractable but slightly dirty tray table this time. The recline is also substantial but comes with slightly less legroom. There is only one business car, so even though Philly was one of the earlier stops with over 7 hours to go, by the very next stop the car had filled up and I had another guest traveling by my side. Of course, not everyone goes the whole way, and my neighbor changed multiple times throughout the ride as they got off or moved to sit closer with their group. Past Harrisburg, that's when the car was certainly less crowded than the coach car, and I had the seat to myself again. Rewinding, the car features an identical restroom, and it also runs on the same tracks regardless of the direction of travel. In other words, the westbound train until Harrisburg is calm and not at all bumpy. This time I opted to show you the opposite side's scenery, but it was overall nearly identical. You will pass through many smaller towns and many rural farms. Right around 2 o'clock, we witnessed the Pennsylvanian traveling in the opposite direction. After passing dozens of towns, each featuring dozens of our proud stars and stripes, miles-long freight trains became much more common as we pulled into Harrisburg. As I said earlier, this was when more seats freed up in the car. Unfortunately, the view at the station is quite limited of both the train and the city due to ongoing construction work. Departing westward, mountains and less crowded rural scenery await. This is also when trains start to slow down compared to Amtrak's northeastern tracks, and things get bumpier. Well, let's change the mood. How about a grilled cheese on Texas toast? Hot. I mean scorching hot. Soft and cheesy sandwich on Texas toast. And this was really extra cheesy. Though the train lacks a formal dining option, there are many snack options that will keep you going. The train kept on through various towns and rivers of Pennsylvania, but unfortunately the weather took a turn. And so, even though I quickly moved over to an empty seat on the opposite side in preparation for the world-famous horseshoe curve, combined with the wet window and foggy weather, my footage was nowhere near world-famous. By around the 5th or 6th hour, I was feeling quite bored as not much was visible outside as the sun set. This was when I said maybe I should just fly instead for my next trip to Philadelphia. But then I found myself coming back to this train as a backup when I saw the news of an upcoming storm and delays at the airport. Like I said, our train network is currently designed for slow travel. Well, at least outside of Northeast. Well, I hope you enjoyed the Pennsylvanian ride with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, here's a video of our only high-speed, fast travel train if you're interested.